Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Now, here's Charles Sandegriff.
Hi there, everyone. Happy Labor Day to you. We are back in Baton Rouge after it was a long day yesterday. I would have to say, not at all what I expected. See, this happens every year. You go through August and you have certain expectations of certain teams, and some of them go exactly the way you thought, and some of them go in a manner which you never could have predicted. This one had a little bit of both of that, but it fell more into the latter category. Florida State beat LSU 24-23 yesterday. By the way, Brian Kelly's press conference tomorrow, so we'll do that. We got some stuff from him from after the game that we'll let you hear, but his press conference will be tomorrow. Basically, first of all, the day in New Orleans was terrific. This was really the first kickoff classic that they had put on. LSU played BYU there a few years ago, but that was one of those things that was rescheduled because of the hurricane. It was a tremendous atmosphere in the Dome. The Dome was full. It was not a soft sellout is kind of what we might have expected going into it. There's a lot of ticket brokers and things like that. No, this one, it was a hard sellout. It was every seat was filled, and Florida State brought their 30 to 35,000 fans. It was pretty close to 50-50 in the Dome. It was loud. It was exciting. And the game certainly wasn't boring, although it was far from well played. Basically what happened to LSU, I don't know if I can say basically what happened to LSU, but there's nothing basic about this game. Here's where the August stuff comes into play. Every fear that LSU fans, and probably the coaches too, definitely the coaches too, had about this team was exposed, and it was worse probably than we thought. We spent 35 days talking about the offensive line. All new guys, all at new positions, new coach, new scheme. Okay, well, that's concerning. No, it was worse. Florida State's got a good defensive front, but the offensive line was every bit as discombobulated as maybe we had feared. The second concern for most people was the kicking game. And I said it 50 times, I guess. You never know about a kicker until they get under the lights. They can make them all in practice, miss them in a game, or vice versa. Well, that was worse than we thought, too, because not only were the kicks low, but the protection broke down. And you assess the blame wherever you want. That was worse than you thought. Some of the strengths we thought of this team, we thought the defensive line front would be a real strength. While they didn't play terrible, a lot of bad things happened to them. They lost Mason Smith to a freak injury very early in the game that pressed Mekhi Wingo into service, and I thought Wingo played well, but it robbed them of at least one more rotation guy in the middle there. And for a team that could not get off the field on third down, you just have to wonder how much that affected them as far as being able to get fresh legs out there. That problem was exacerbated when Ali Gay was ejected from the game for targeting, which, by the way, was the right call and a very dumb play by Gay. Even B.J. Ojolari got knocked out for a short period of time. So we didn't see the rotation up front defensively that maybe we had hoped for. Some of the other players that we thought we might see a little bit more. Savion Jones didn't really happen there. The linebackers really struggled in coverage. They struggled with a lot of their run fits. We were concerned about the LSU run game, and they did not have a whole lot of opportunities, didn't have a whole lot of daylight to run to. That was probably a little bit worse than we thought. Matt was on the pregame show with us yesterday. He says, I expect Jaden Daniels to be the leading rusher tonight. I thought that was a reasonable prediction. I don't think that if he had said, you know what, Charles, Jaden Daniels is going to have 5 times as much rushing yards as anybody else on LSU's team. And I said, no, that's a little bit outrageous, but that's pretty much exactly what happened. Speaking of Daniels, and last night by the time we get to postgame, everybody was exhausted, and there were more than a few people that had imbibed for the day. So the frustration level was extremely high for anybody that said there was nothing positive to take from this game. No, Jaden Daniels played really well. He played tough. He made some plays when he had to, and I thought he was put in some really tough positions by what they asked him to do. I was absolutely blown away with the number of times that they put him into a straight drop back. I was blown away because the offensive line's inability to protect him should have been obvious. And much of Daniels' running, especially in the first half, was predicated by protections breaking down, not designed. I was really surprised that they did not use him more when it was a designed run. Didn't see a ton out of the RPO game. We didn't see him roll. We didn't see, cut the field in half. Didn't see them give him a lot of opportunities for some easy throws, some things that, are very easy to complete, but because of the talent level you've got on the outside, could potentially turn into big gains. And when they did try to do that, the receivers dropped some balls. But Daniels, who got the stew knocked out of him so many times yesterday, he played tough. And in the fourth quarter, when they needed to go down the field, by God, minute 20 to go, you got to go 99 yards. And that's just the percentage of you making that drive at that point are really, really low. And Daniels put that drive together. He took advantage of what Florida State gave them, which was an inability to protect the boundary, which was also surprising, that LSU was able to go down and use it and not completely kill the clock. So with his feet, with his arm, the last touchdown to Jeray Jenkins was a terrific play. It was not his first read. They were trying to get the ball to Keyshawn Butte, and he was covered. He looks back to the center of the field, and he throws a dart, and they get the touchdown. Of course, we know how the game ended. So I thought, Jaden Daniels played tough. I thought he did what he could. I didn't think his coaching staff helped him out very much at all. The defensively, not able to get off the field on third down was one of the major stories of the game. Some of it was bad tackling. Brian Kelly talked about that. Some of it, schematically, you had guys running wide open. Again, the linebackers were struggling in coverage. I think the first 3 first downs, first two or three first downs were right in the center of the field, and 2 of those were to tight ends. That happened a lot. When we got to the post game, so what was the third down stat? What was the final stat? Well, they completed 11 out of 17, and the reaction, that's all, because it seemed like Florida State did not miss hardly a single one of those things. I thought they called a good game for Jordan Travis. I thought they put him in a lot of good positions to make, frankly, a lot of the throws that I thought that LSU should have with Daniels, that you get him on the move a little bit. You give him some things to complete. You let his receivers make some plays, and I thought that they did. The special teams were an absolute disaster, and again, some of that is just bad coaching. I'm sorry, you just can't. You can't put those units out there to make fundamental mistakes twice, where you've got interior pressure on a kick. I mean, that's basic. That's not hard. You cannot allow pressure on the inside on a kick for placement to tie the game for the second time on a short kick. It can't happen. That's on the staff. I'm sorry. There's no way that kid can reach on the outside if he's been coached for the last month to come on the inside. They made a personnel change, but it was a mess. Every single portion of the special teams played poorly. They had the 2 kicks that were blocked. They had a shank punt, and then the 2 fumbled punt returns. Now here, I thought this was a tougher call. When Malik Neighbors fumbled the first punt, you go, okay, everybody gets one mulligan. It's the first game. Okay. But when he's got to go back to return that second punt and you've got just a couple of minutes to go in the game, you're down near the end of the game, the temptation is to say, you got to put somebody else back there. But I don't think that's an easy call at all because LSU's choices, the 4 guys that returned punts for LSU in practice, all the practices we went to, were Malik Neighbors, who was back there, Seven Banks, who was not dressed last night, Sage Ryan, who barely played last night, and a walk-on from St. Aug in Javen Nicholas, who if you put a walk-on out there cold, or you put even Ryan out there cold, then you're going to say, well, why wouldn't you go with the guy that has been your number 1 guy for an entire month? I thought that was a difficult call. I felt for Neighbors. I was encouraged to see him come back and make a couple of stops, a couple of catches on the last drive to kind of get him back going. You could tell he felt terrible about it. It wasn't an effort thing. The kid just dropped the ball. It happens. I think that Malik Neighbors is a tremendously talented football player, and LSU needs him, and he'll play a role. But just to not take him out at that point, I don't think that was an easy call. I probably would have had him back there as well. So I was with Brian Kelly on that one. The other things though in the special teams game were really, really tough. This was a close game by the final score. It did not feel like a close game to me, especially early in the second half when Florida State was really controlling the ball. Frankly, I thought that a lot of the Florida State mistakes kept LSU in the ball game. They had 80 yards worth of penalties, and that just kind of barely begins to tell the story. On LSU's touchdown drive in the third quarter, 30 of the 82 yards were committed via penalty. There was a play in the first half where Florida State ripped off a 20-yard run that would have put them 1st and 10 inside the 20-yard line of LSU that was called back for a hold. Well, that's essentially a 30-yard penalty. I didn't agree with the decision to go for it on 4th down. I guess what I'm telling you is while the defensive staff for Florida State, I thought, had a sound plan, and the offensive staff did a really good job, overall, when I look at some of the decisions that Mike Norvell made in this game and some of the things that they did that were really, really foolish football plays, Florida State doesn't strike me as overwhelming. They strike me a lot like UCLA did last year. This is not a great football team. They're not a terrible football team, but this is not a great football team for Florida State. Somebody asked me this morning, where would they finish in the SEC East? I said probably 4th or 5th. And that's probably where they'll finish in the ACC. They'll probably be a 7 or 8 win team. They're not terrible, but they're not great. They made a lot of mistakes that they could have put this game away a lot sooner than they did. If they would have kicked themselves from here all the way back to Tallahassee had LSU pull this game out. You go forward on 4th down when you got a gimme field goal. You commit 80 yards in penalties that really feel like more like 125 in penalties. And then you fumble on the 1-yard line going in when you would have put the game away. No, Florida State was not impressive. This was 2 teams that had a lot of really foolish plays in the game last night. We got some stuff from Brian Kelly that we'll let you hear. Gordy Rush is going to join me in a moment, and we'll continue to take a look back at last night's season opener. Florida State wins it 24-23. We're brought to you by Acura of Baton Rouge. Right now the all-new MDX Type S and Type S Advanced turbocharged V6 massaging seats in the Advanced, new color combinations, all new body styles, starting with the 2022 MDX, the 2021 TLXs, the TLX Type S. The RDX was refreshed in 2022. The 2023 Integra, the newest and latest, greatest technology and styling. The Integra back comes with a 6-speed manual transmission or the automatic. And all your 2023 model years have 2 years of maintenance included. It's family owned and operated. They're going to treat you like family at Acura of Baton Rouge. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The best things in summer are unofficial. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to LA.
Presented by Bet Rivers, Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. from Dozy Place on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. Me and Mike Delicano recap the 5-day weekend, opening week of college football. Game time presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU and Florida State last night opened the season. Seminoles win at 24-23. Gordy Rush was on the sidelines. I see you made it back in good shape, good spirits. Good to see you.
I'm alive.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Give me this perspective from the sideline. I've had my say on the post game and now in the open here. So, tell me what you saw from ground level.
Well, my biggest concern, as everybody's I think was going into the season, was this offensive line. And after watching, I saw 2 scrimmages out there during fall camp, and I thought they held up pretty well. And so I was expecting better. I think everybody was expecting a little bit better, and obviously they struggled. And then Florida State, not my wildest dreams, I think Florida State would be able to get that much pressure blitzing and to be able to handle the talent LSU had at the wide receiver position. Some of it, Daniels, I was running for his life and didn't have the opportunity to set his feet and throw the football a little bit. And, at that point, LSU was one-dimensional. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't block. And knew it was going to be a long night.
When he went into a straight drop back, that's where most of the scrambles were. I was surprised that they didn't get him on the move more, maybe a little bit more RPO action, little half rolls, things that were easy to complete. It seemed like in the first half especially, everything was very slow developing. They were counting on that offensive line to hold up longer than really they probably should have.
And they showed some of that during fall, some of those scrimmages. And go back to why did Miles Brennan walk away. One of the things I brought up is really didn't fit what they were doing offensively because you saw so much half sprints and things of that nature. Look, they made the adjustment in the second half, in the fourth quarter particularly, to go to tempo. And what tempo does, Charles, by going quick, defense, 1, you lock in the personnel. 2, they've got to call in a simple play. They can't run all those exotic-looking blitzes. And then more than that, Daniels just looked comfortable getting in tempo, and they were able to get rid of the football real quick. Some outs, some stops, a little bit of drags, but they were able to pick off the 2-man coverage that Florida State was playing. They were playing too high safety, but press man-to-man and getting in the face of LSU wide receivers. They did a good job of getting rid of the football. And then they were able to sprinkle in a little bit of Noah Kane, who ran north and south, and I think that led to some of the success. And maybe going forward, you got to imagine this is the identity of this football team. Which, it kind of reminds me of Mike Leach's first 2 years at Mississippi State. He was doing exactly that, running tempo, trying to hold on the possession, short passes, and keep his defense off the field.
Yeah, and you do run the risk of keeping your defense out, doing the exact opposite, keeping your defense out there a long time.
Yeah,
instead.
if you go quick, and we'll see where they go from this. If you go quick and you get a couple 3-and-outs, this defense, which we'll get to the defense a little bit, they're going to be on the field.
Let's talk about Keyshawn Boutte, because I think everybody was surprised at the stat line. He had 2 catches for 20 yards. He was targeted probably 3 other times. He had a couple of drops, and then the one ball on the first drive to the back of the end zone that he nearly came up with. I was very surprised. At some point in the second quarter, I think it was the 4th drive, I just said to Musa, was sitting next to him, I'm like, okay, on this drive, if you're Brian Kelly, you're calling the OC and you're telling them, I don't care what play you call, but you're going to call something for 7. We're going to put the ball in his hands on this possession, and it never happened in the first half. And by the time it got in the second half, it almost looked like he was, kind of checked out a little bit.
Frustrated. Yeah, it's frustrating. The 2 drops, if I recall, one was a hitch route. He had man coverage, and he dropped on that one. The second one was one of the few times Florida State played zone coverage, and Daniels bought himself a little bit of time, and Boutte moved himself back into the inside into the curl position, and got a peek, saw the linebacker coming from the other side, and dropped the football there. Yeah, I mean, you've got to start there. I think you see now what your identity is going to be on offense. Okay, if that's what we're going to have to do, how can I get the ball 7 quickly? And for me, he's much more comfortable running away from people. I don't remember too many times, going back to that Ole Miss game, that you remember seeing Boutte kept running curl routes or even hitch routes. Him usually running away from a defender, he looks much more comfortable.
All right, defensively, first of all, they had some personnel issues up front because they lose Smith and then they lose Gay. So I mean,
and Wiggins comes out in a boot.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll talk about that because that's numbers for you at that point.
Right. And didn't realize that Wiggins wasn't going to play before the game. So you were down a little bit of personnel, so you didn't get as many fresh legs as you wanted. But on third down, they struggled so much. It didn't seem like anything that House threw at them really confused the quarterback. Travis looked very comfortable most of the night. Yeah, there were times where he made plays with his feet where they couldn't get him on the ground, like Kelly talked about, but there were also times where there were wide open receivers on third down, especially in the middle of the field.
Florida State did a nice job in blitz pickup. I thought the times that LSU brought package, and they brought a couple different little packages. I felt like the linebackers, some of those zone blitzes dropped to space but didn't find receivers, and you got to be tighter. It's one thing to play zone, but knowing where that man is in that zone and jumping on him, especially on third and short. And I thought they did a nice job with the crossing routes, again, in the middle of the football field when LSU brought linebackers. And you got a 6'7" receiver in Wilson. It was Wilson, the big kid, 6'7", the 14, number 14 coming across. Johnny Wilson.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Johnny Wilson. And you're 5'11", 6 foot, trying to run with a 6'7" guy. So, look, Florida State, give them credit. I think offensively the blitz pickup was solid, and they attacked the middle of the football field where a lot of the blitzes and the pressures came from.
Yeah, you had two Wilsons out there. Ontario was the other one. That was 80. All right, special teams. This is your forte, man. You know all about this stuff. They had breakdowns on every single unit last night. So let's talk about the kick protection first, because whenever you get a kick blocked, it's very easy to blame the kicker, but the protection issues there, I'm not sure if he could have gotten the ball up quickly enough with that kind of pressure. Anyway, I'm not a kicking expert, but you were field level, so walk me through them.
The second one, Mason Taylor, is what we call the wing back, right? So you've got three linemen, you've got a tight end, and then the wing back.
Was he in there the first one? Because
I did not see. I've got to go back and see the first one. He made a
Kelly
correction.
said they made a personnel change on the interior of the protection, but I don't think he was talking about Taylor. It was another guy.
So here's a general rule of thumb: anytime you're in field goal protection, is that there's no way that the outside guy should block the kick, right? Should block the kick unless your wing back absolutely collapses down. And the operation of a proper field goal at this level should always get off, and there's no way the guy should go around the wing back and block it. On the blocked extra point, Taylor did not step down, right? So the job of the wing back is step down to his right, and basically you're taught to put your shoulder on that tight end's rear end and then reach out with your left arm to just get a piece of the outside rusher. And instead, he did not close the gap, and that's where the block came from, and it was an outstanding effort. Florida State guy jumped. They teach you to 1-2, pick up your feet and jump over what is going to be the right leg of the wing back and the left leg of that left tackle. Jump, and then two steps and release and block. And that's just a mistake, and you don't do that. You don't open up the floodgate. The guy blocks you, blocks it from around. Hey, that's on the operation. That's not on you as a wingback.
The question came up: did they consider going for two? Kelly said not for very long. What did you?
You should be able to convert a PAT, right? You had the momentum going on into the second half, and I saw a little bit out on ESPN Get Up this morning. That was a hot topic. But the way that you started to catch a little fire offensively, and I know you're lucky at that position, you should be able to convert a PAT at this level.
No question. And they did have the momentum. And I'll give you one more reason I don't think they should have gone for two, which is the last play before the block kick to Jenkins. He's not the initial read there. Right. They're trying to get the ball to Keishon Butte, who is covered. So Jaden Daniels is in the pocket. He's got a clean pocket for once. And he does what he's been criticized that he won't do, which is go off of your primary read. He comes off of that read, and he throws a bullet in the middle of the field, and they score the touchdown. But what it tells me, Gordy, is they didn't have a play in their pocket. They didn't have a 2-point play in their pocket, because if they did, they would have run it on the last play of the game. And when I say play in your pocket, one of those things that you've seen on film that you can go away from the strength of the format. We've seen these plays, right, where you got a tight end or a back on the backside who's all by himself because they've seen something on film. They know if you give them a certain look, they're going to react a certain way, and you can exploit that. LSU didn't have one of those plays in their pocket, and they couldn't run the football either down there.
No, running the football was not play. We talked about it on the broadcast, and we talked about speculated what you would do, and my thing was some sort of play action where you get Daniels in space. And instead, they elected to run that double arrow where Boutte was the first cutter, and the safety went with him, which opened up. That's the progression. If the safety's going to go with the inside slant, then you throw it to the outside slant.
And when I say they don't have a two-point play in their pocket, it's not that they didn't work on two-point plays, but they don't have one of those. Sometimes you get a play where this is going to work. We absolutely know that this is going to work. We'll pick out the right spot in the game to run it. If they had it, they would have run it on the play before that. Go ahead.
No, we can sit here and speculate about that.
Yeah.
I mean, after I think there's so much effort getting down the football field, right? And not to you don't have analysts in there that are talking about that, and somebody's job. Heck, maybe Joe Sloan's up in the press box next to Dem Brockman. Is it his job to have something queued up? You have so many analysts and all this. I get it. You should make the PAT at this level.
Tell me you weren't thinking about the Ole Miss game from whatever year
I
it
did.
was. They're going down the field, and I'm like, how is Florida State not in the umbrella? How are they not funneling everything to the middle of the field and working on the clock? They allowed LSU to get out of bounds, I think 3 or 4 times on that drive.
I thought that was awful on Florida State's part to have they went 3 deep. They had all the safeties on the goal line.
Yeah.
And LSU was in the 30, 35 yard. I mean, way too much time left on the clock to leave that sort of gap. And then they did have people playing hard corners. They were playing some 2-man. At that point, they teach you technique-wise that you need to be outside shade and force the ball back in. And at no point do you let Brian Thomas cross your face and then run for an additional 8 yards down. So that was bad execution on that part. And I said last night on the broadcast as well, the problem with prevent defense is you don't practice it enough. You practice it on Thursday. It's a situational thing, and rarely are you doing it live. Thursday is more of a glorified walkthrough, and just too many times you see poorly executed prevent defenses.
Give me your vantage point of the last play. I said the last play, the Mason Taylor play, where he looks like he's out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see the replay, and his knee is clearly down. And I never got a shot where I could see his knee down and the clock simultaneously in the same picture. And I really thought, Gordy, that the long review was they were going to reset the clock at 2 seconds or even 3 seconds, because if he made the first down, which was going to stop the clock, but LSU's not going to be able to snap the ball if there's only 1 second left on the clock. But if there's 2 or 3, then you can. The explanation that comes out of the huddle is LSU has one play, which is something you usually hear when there's an untimed down. It's like,
right.
Okay, the offense has one more play as a defensive penalty or something like that. So 12 hours later, 15 hours later, I still am confused as to what exactly happened down there. So you were on the – what'd you see?
Well, I saw exactly what you saw. His knee was down, and there was no question that I was in the same boat with you. I believe the clock was going to run, and they were reviewing whether or not they were going to put an additional second on there. And I never did see – I didn't have the view down there, and they didn't put it up on the Jumbotron whether they were going to put a second back. And then that's what I heard come out of the referee's mouth. And, at that point – we were speculating, do you have 2 seconds to get up there and spike the football? We all know what happened when you try to spike the football with 1 second.
Yeah.
Going back to was that Jordan Jefferson up at Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Could you do it with 2 seconds? And when LSU said, the referee said LSU had one more play remaining. So we'll have to dig into the rule book today. That was something new to me.
To spike it with 2 seconds, you got to be under center. And did he go under center even one time last night?
I don't believe.
No. So to snap the ball out of the pistol and spike it, I don't think you can do.
No. He had to get under center.
You'd have to get under there, and
he did spike it. He did get under center and spike it, and during that drive at one point he did.
Okay.
Yeah, he
did.
He clocked it.
Trying to remember back there. There is a temptation to look at the first game, fall into this trap every year, trying very hard not to. Well, if they did this in this game, then what are they going to do when they face teams that are better than Florida State? Because I don't know what you thought of Florida State. I wasn't over the moon impressed. I mean, they made a bunch of mistakes. They could have put LSU away multiple times and didn't. So we're going to see something different. They'll get better or they'll get worse, but they won't stay the same. So what's next? Improvement from week 1 to week 2. The old cliche that is complete hogwash, but okay. What's first in your meeting?
Well, first off, offensively, what's my identity now? No, I don't think anybody,
Are
including
you
them,
jumping into this tempo with both feet?
To me, that's what worked.
Yeah.
That's what worked. But at some point, you've got to be able to run the football. I don't think that's sustainable when you get to the big boys, right? And then how many hits? How many hits is Jane Daniels going to be able to take this season? He's your best rushing. He's your best runner right now. He's your best rushing option. On the defensive side of the football, for me, it reminded me a little bit of Parts last year, and it was the first game. You had a lot of new pieces, and some of the run fits simply weren't there. They didn't set the edge at times. Florida State, I thought, did a nice job with some different looks. They went on balance once or twice. They ran some different packages to get to the edge. A lot to clean up, but for me, the third down emphasis and being able to get off the field when it counted, and that was 7 of 11, I believe, was the last stat that I saw when before LSU made that run, 7 of 11, and House brought some packages, and LSU didn't do a good job covering the middle of the football field. Linebackers looked not necessarily lost, but they were dropping to spaces and zones without finding receivers. And you and I we've talked football for 10, 15, 20 years, and one of the problems today, so many people play more man-to-man than they play zone. Zone is just not about dropping to a space. It's being able to pick up where the number 2 receiver is and then gravitate towards him. And then Florida State, they had some really nice calls, getting big targets, the tight end, the big receiver I talked about in the middle of the football field, and good matchups.
All right, go home and watch the film. I'm going to ask you all of these questions on the podcast tomorrow. And you can't say, I had a chance to watch film. Go home, watch the film. We're going to do all this all over again tomorrow. And then probably again on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday on this show.
Happy Labor Day.
Thanks a lot. We'll take a break. We'll be back here. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys.
On a Tuesday edition of Off the Bench, Nick Underhill of NewOrleans.Football joins the show to talk Saints, and we have a new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'll begin by congratulating Florida State. You know, they outplayed us in the first half. Certainly mistake after mistake for us, and particularly in the first half. And, you know, obviously more mistakes in the second half. We started to overcome some of those and, you know, played with... I would consider more of a sense of urgency, you know, with the last 12 minutes. But, you know, our margin for error was so small that we couldn't make any more mistakes.
Brian Kelly following the game last night. LSU. Okay. So one of the things that was a big problem last night, obviously, was the third down issues. And these are things in camp that obviously they worked on, but a lot of that did not work out last night. Kelly talked about trying to foresee the issues in camp on getting off the field on third down.
No, we felt like we could get off the field on third down. We thought we would tackle better, but you don't go through camp tackling at the level that, you know, you're trying to tackle the quarterback here at Florida State. It's very difficult, and we had a hard time getting him on the ground, quite frankly. And we have some pretty good players that couldn't get him on the ground. But we didn't tackle very well. We didn't communicate as effectively as we needed to on the back end of our defense. And again, that's coaching and that's execution. And we're all in this together, players and coaches alike. We have to go back tomorrow and go back to work and get better at those things. But no, we didn't go through camp and go, wow, we are who we are. We have all these holes. We didn't expect, you know, a lot of the mistakes that we saw out there today. But as coaches, we have to be critical of ourselves and look at our evaluation and say that, you know, we're part of this as well, and we've got to do a better job coaching.
So the two things, you know, if you're looking at the top thing defensively, the top thing offensively. The top thing defensively is what are you going to do about the third down breakdowns? The first thing you're going to talk about offensively is what you're going to do about your offensive, I think we'll use the word identity. Kelly used the word rhythm when he talked about Jaden Daniels and how this offense took a while to find that rhythm.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's an opener, and you know, you saw a better rhythm. You know, we had some drop passes, and we didn't protect as well. That's a good team. Florida State played well. That's why I congratulated them at the very beginning. For 4 quarters, they played better football, quite frankly. But yeah, we got into a better rhythm certainly in the second half. Jaden did, and he's a threat. But we don't want to rely on him having to go back there. And when he does sit in the pocket, we saw his ability to find open receivers, show the patience, and in particular on the last touchdown, he stayed in the pocket, showed great patience, and found Joey Jenkins in the back of the end zone.
So we'll see going forward exactly how much they want to find that rhythm and what the balance is as far as protecting the defense. For Kelly, there's a lot of obviously things that they've got to fix, but those two probably go up to the top of the list offensively and defensively. Special teams, you can start from scratch. You can literally start from scratch. You had every opportunity to make some plays there last night, and literally botched just about every one of them. I will tell you that when Kelly said that if Florida State was better for 4 quarters last night, I completely agree. But as far as are they a good team? That team made a ton of mistakes as well last night. That was the disappointing thing is you didn't look across that field and go, wow, they're great. That's a really, really good team that they lost to. When they lost to Wisconsin in 2016, it was kind of like, okay, it's a pretty good Wisconsin team. When they lost to Mississippi State in 2020 to open the season, well, that's not, that wasn't a team that ended up being great. They were great that day. And last year against UCLA, that team doesn't look great either. I didn't look at Florida State yesterday and go, wow, that's a great team. Or that's a really, really good team. Like I said, they're a middle of the pack ACC team. They would probably finish, somewhere middle to a little bit past the middle of the pack in the SEC. That's what I saw out of Florida State. So if I saw that out of Florida State and I saw that out of LSU, and I think that's where Florida State would have finished, well, again, I'm trying not to make too many assumptions about the rest of the season. We'll give you some more time for questions. We'll do that when we come back in the YouTube chat. We are brought to you by Acura of Baton Rouge. The new MDX Type S and Type S Advanced turbocharged V8 massaging seats in the Advanced. New color combinations, new body styles, starting with the 2022 MDX, the 2021 TLX, TLX Type S, and the RDX refreshed in 2022. The newest and greatest technology and styling, family-owned and operated. Acura of Baton Rouge. This is Handy Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out NewOrleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite. For a Labor Day edition of Hunt and Hill, react to Tigers and Knowles and Brian Kelly's press conference. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Hunt and Hill, 1 to 3 weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, ask us in the YouTube chat. How much does Daniel scrambling last night concern you about against SEC defensive lines? How concerned are you about week 3? Very. They've got offensive line. We knew that the offensive line was going to be something that they were going to have to work through. New guys, new positions. We've done all that. How quickly can they ramp it up? How quickly can they get more continuity? Again, they changed that starting lineup about halfway through camp. There's not a ton of practices in there. All you can do is rep it. But how concerned? Very concerned. Carrie says they should have just went for 2. I would have respected that. I don't. I think that there was a higher percentage chance of making the extra point, going overtime and winning than making a 2-point conversion. We can talk about it. I didn't think that they had a play that they knew for sure would work in that situation because of what they did on the last play of the game. They had to go to second read. Would it have worked? I don't know. They could have run something else. I mean, it's not like they didn't have any other 2-point plays, but were any of them a high percentage play to work? No, I don't know that any of them would have been higher than making the extra point and giving yourself a chance there where you had a little bit of momentum. But that's just me. Let's see. Once in a while, we're one-dimensional as soon as the defense puts a spy on Jaden. It's easy to say that you can just put a spy on the guy, but quarterbacks that have great speed and great elusiveness, it's hard to just put one guy on saying, oh, okay, you're gonna take him out of the game. I think he'll still be able to make a lot of yards. However, I am concerned about the number of hits that he's going to take with all of this. He's probably somewhere around 200 pounds. He took a lot of hits last night, and that's only going to ramp up in SEC play. So I'm most concerned about that. One guy says, keep in mind, without neighbors muffin punts, LSU wins by 14. Florida State's not good. No, I don't agree with that because Florida State didn't get any points out of either one of those fumbled punts. Now, what it did do was put LSU behind field position-wise and timing-wise. He says Florida State's not good. I don't think Florida State's great, but they were better than LSU last night. What they've got to decide is, are they going to keep Malik Neighbors back there returning punts, or they're going to go to somebody else? I understand why they had him back there last night for the second time. Their options were either out of the game or cold, but now with a week to work on it, that becomes a real question. We'll take it to the house. Quick turnaround. Hunt and Hill coming your way next. Again, press conference show tomorrow. Podcast Hannycast returns tomorrow. Gordy will be with me for that after he's had a chance to look at the film. And again, we'll go on at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Mike Scarborough will be with us before the press conference, and then we'll take it up to 1 o'clock afterwards. From all of us here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, I'm Charles Hanniger. Have a great Labor Day. This has been Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.